Alright, welcome to another day in paradise. Now I've been a bit busy. This is what I've built. As we talked about in the last, video, I was going to start making a exhaust manifold, and this is what I come up with. It's definitely not an Instagram manifold. It's my TIG welding for mild steel for some reason just doesn't really happen. But anyway, so half of it's TIGged, half of it's MIGged, but I think it's built like a freaking tank, so we should be all good. Anyway, so what we got here is a exhaust manifold for our 1.8T powered mr2. What we have is it's made out of, it's got a 12mm plate. It's got another 12mm plate for the turbo end. Unusual style design there, sort of like a T3-ish kind of design. Anyway, it's made out of steam pipe bends or weld L's or seamless pipe bend and seamless pipe, whatever you want to call it. It's not stainless because stainless stuff will crack in the end no matter what. These things here are robust and they just seem to last forever, no matter how much abuse you put on them. But so anyway, what we have here is my solution for getting the turbo in the correct place. Over here, it's a big turbo, HX52 on the 1.8. So I've done everything in my power so far to get this thing to hopefully spool as fast as possible. So what we have is skinny runners that we talked about last time. I think they're the 44mm runners instead of the bigger size that everybody seems to use. These ports, so let's come around here. These ports here haven't been finalised in terms of match ported, but they have to come out in diameter by 1mm. So to match the ports on the head, the standard untouched ports on the head. So I've just got to mark them out when the head's off and when the time comes, and just finally die grind them out to the right size. So small runners, equal length. To get the turbo in the position I needed to get it with twin scrolls and equal length, I've done something that's possibly a little bit unusual, and that is I've done obviously 1 and 4 go into 1, 2 and 3 go into 1, and then those two runners go up to the 2 ports for the turbo, for the 2 scrolls for the turbo, and obviously then I've got wastegates coming off, and I don't know if you can actually see it here, but the angle of the wastegates has been prioritised quite well. They don't come off on right angles, they come off on a nice angle, both of them are the same. To help with boost control working properly, and yeah, so I mean I know the guys run big ports, big diameter manifolds, and I've always sort of thought it was a bit weird, because you know by the time they go into the turbo like this into here, I mean these ports here go down to the size of your thumb as they scroll down, and well, you know, they go small anyway as they taper down. They get smaller and smaller before they go into the actual slot for the wheel. So I mean there's no point in going out of the head being smallish, going into a big diameter runner, and then going into the turbo and obviously being very small again. So like I said in the last video, I saw a back-to-back comparison, same engine, same style manifold. One was a big runner, one was a skinny runner, and the skinny runner made more power in the mid-range, and I think from memory it also made more power actually in the top end. So that's fine. It was on a 700 horsepower motor, like a 2 litre. So that's sort of the idea that I've got in my head the whole time I've been building it. And also I haven't used any sharp bends. They're all that radius there, which is the biggest radius you can get those welding elbows or steam pipe bends. So that's the plan there. Obviously I've got to run twin wastegates. I haven't worked out what I'm gonna do there. Join those two back into one and run them out a separate muffler. So it's fine, because in New Zealand we have to run a separate muffler or plumb it back in. So that's fine. And of course the length of the runners is quite long. I'm hoping to get good exhaust speed to get this turbo to spool up. So there you go. There's my solution for trying to get this turbo to spool up. Skinny runners, long runners, twin scroll, twin gate, and nice and flowing, hopefully. So yeah, that's it. I'll chuck the turbo on so you can see what it looks like with the turbo. Alright, there we go. We've got the turbo sitting on there. That's the whole concept. I will be making heat shielding. I'll probably wrap it, I reckon, for a start, and I will make heat shielding around everything that's hot. I'll get a beanie for the turbine, like I did with the V6 one, just to try and get everything that's not supposed to be hot, not hot. Everything is hot, keep it hot. So that's the whole idea. I'll come around here. You can sort of see what we're dealing with. There's a good view, pipe angles, runners, everything. So that's the whole layout. I think I will be putting a support on the bottom of the turbo to somewhere, some sort of half pie flexible support. In the past, what I've done is I've run a that's why I've left there's a hole in the bottom of the flange there. What I've done in the past is I've got like a bit of 10mm rod or 12mm rod, and joined it onto the turbo flange. I've come down and I've put a couple of loops in it, and then attached it, anchored it somewhere. And the reason for that is obviously, especially a manifold like this with a big leg coming off it, and when it gets hot and cold, the turbo will move around slightly, and it's a big heavy turbo, so I want something to support it, but it's also got to be sort of flexible in a way to allow for that movement when it heats up and cools down. So I don't want it solid, but I don't want it supported by itself, because it's too big and heavy for to be standing there by itself. So that's the deal. What I might do is I might just chuck it on the car so you can see what I'm dealing with, and I'm pretty happy with all that. It looks good, awesome. Alrighty, so I've just slapped that on roughly. This is what we've got. So we've got a sidewinder style setup. That's it all fitted. It's pretty easy to stick on. There's plenty of room in this thing. So there we go. So yeah, the exhaust will come out of the back of the turbo. This bar here might have to be just notched a bit, unfortunately, but I was more worried about turbo position than the outside factors. So the main thing was to get the turbo fitted with its equal length manifold, and this is the best solution I came up with. So yeah, twin gates are going to be easy to get to there and there, no problems there. And our intake for the turbo will come out. It clears all the gear linkages. That little thermostat housing with water housing, it's going to be modified anyway, so that little spout there's out of the picture. So yeah, the 4-inch inlet for the turbo will come along, and obviously I will incorporate some sort of box into this vent here. I might even open this right up and put the filter in its own box in the side of the car. Perfect solution, I thought, because it's, you know, minimal piping from there to there. And then obviously our cold outlet will come along and plumb into these intercooler pipings that go down the centre of the car for the front mount intercooler. And yeah, so that's it. A big muffler at the back, run along the back there somewhere. I've got a 3.5 inch muffler that I used on the V6, and for those two outlets there for the wastegate, I'll probably just run them down and out the back on their own separate little tiny muffler to make it legal. So yeah, it's looking really good. I'm really happy with it, and yeah, it's a bit hard to get a good angle, but you get the idea anyway. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with all that. Exhaust won't be coming out the side like it was. It's going to be at the back, which is fine. I'm going to miss the stain though on the back guard, but you know, it's function over form for this one as usual. So yeah, and like I said, I will be bracing the hold it steady. The bottom of the turbo will be braced down probably to the gearbox somewhere. Like I said, with a little loop-to-loop 12mm rod or something, just something that's got a tiny bit of flex in it, and will allow the turbo to sort of just move around slightly, but also still support it. Something like that. We'll figure something out anyway. So I'm pretty happy with that. I suppose the next thing now, after all this, will be actually getting onto the axles, because the axle guy will take a little while to make them. So the next job will be on the hoist, like I said last time, finding a broom or something, or a shovel handle, and turning it down, making some wooden axles, and then with our CV joints and things that we talked about last time, and I will be getting them made with the axle guy, and then it will be a proper roller here. So there you go. Anyway, that's all I've got for now. Thanks for watching. I know I didn't do much of the making in that. What I needed to do was get the manifold cleaned up, sandblasted and painted before anybody looked at my horrible welds. It looks pretty good in my book anyway. Sweet. Alright, we'll see you all later. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.